and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network, Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to another episode of Ermanni Networks with Maz. It's Wednesday, so you know who's joining us. My main man to the left, Michigan State's own, as well as the heckler, the Detroit heckler that is Anson Wells. Anson, what's up, brother?
I'm just feeling my northern state of Michigan extra special today.
Okay, I'm excited today because you and I, you know, we go back and forth a lot. We disagree, which is a good thing, Michigan State, Michigan. But today we have a common enemy.
Common ground.
And it's going to be a fun show. We got Dan Miller coming up in the third hour, as well as intern Alex and Lynn Henning. Get a little bit of his Detroit Tigers talks in. With that being said,
sir.
Bring in the main man, Tom Maz away. Big Maz, what's up, brother?
Hey, good to be here, guys. Good to be here. A lot of sports happening. Lots of things happening. The stinking Red Sox just traded for Garrett Crochet from the White Sox.
Yeah,
that kind of ruins my day.
I ruined Maz.
Although
right
the Yankees got
show.
Max Fried yesterday, so all right.
That's true.
I guess we're even.
Maz, you got
Max
your bell?
Fried, man, that's a hell of a pickup.
Pardon?
You
That
got
was
your
a hell
bell
of a
over there?
pickup.
I got my bell.
All right, good.
Shout out to the main man in the audio booth. That is Kenny G on the Smooth Sounds. What's up, KG?
Hey, man, chilling. I'm here.
Okay.
Dealing with a bit of a throat issue, but we all right. We
All
getting
right.
through.
Yeah, it's all good, man. We'll stay in the booth.
Yeah, I promise.
Stay
It's
in
not,
the booth.
it ain't that. I wouldn't even be
All
here.
right,
if it
for
was
sure. Speaking of booths, P. Spivak, what's going on, brother?
Good afternoon, everybody, and let's get ready to go to have a good show.
Well, let's get right into it, man. The two things we want to come out and talk about, obviously, Bill Belichick takes the job down in North Carolina. It is official. Big Bill Belichick.
It's becoming official.
It's becoming official. It's not finalized yet, but it's looking like to go. Bill Belichick will be back in football, not in the NFL. But you know what? Let's get back to that one. Let's go to Ohio.
No,
first.
do we have to? Do we
We
have to go down
we
there?
have to go to the I can't even say great state of Ohio. We have to go to the state
Yeah.
of Ohio. Ohio State.
Yuck.
Like when I saw this, I couldn't believe this was true. Like I couldn't believe that this was true. Ohio has made it a felony to now plant flags in college football stadiums, obviously after the flag planting situation where Michigan planted the flag in Ohio State. It's crazy to me.
I think it still has to be voted on.
Well,
They
the
proposed
fact that
this bill.
the fact that
They
it's
gonna
on the
pass it.
bill,
It's
the
Ohio.
fact that it's on the docket, Ohio is getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And let me just say Columbus, which runs Ohio, it's getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. They're getting softer and softer and softer. How about you do me a favor, okay? Instead of coming up with this rule to put on the bill and say, hey, you know what, let's make it felonious to plant flags at college stadiums. How about you don't lose the teams that you're rated to beat by 20 points
That's what it comes down to.
after you spent $20 million in the offseason?
This is
How about you do that?
This is par for the course for Ohio.
When Baker Mayfield did it, I didn't see him come up with this law. I didn't hear it when that was Oklahoma and Baker Mayfield who went on to win the Heisman. No, you know, it's all in good fun. It's college, got a little rowdy, but, you know, it's fun. This is what you do. Michigan does it. Now they're trying to come up with this is laughable.
They broke 'em.
I'm just smiling.
This
like
week-
the state of Ohio is absolutely broken. Like, Michigan is so in their head. They can't even worry about the fact they still have a chance to win a national championship.
And Neil tried to tell me this rivalry don't matter. I'm like, come on, man.
It
means
doesn't.
everything to Ohio State.
This is essentially decided in some small T the last 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
And what has this rivalry done in the history throughout? Don't give me that. I don't want to go there. This is laughable. Anson, where are you and East Lansing on this?
Well, first and foremost, if you plant your flag into somebody else's logo midfield, it is grounds for what happened.
Yeah, I
right?
don't have a
There's
pro-
going to
and
be a dust up.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm a pearl clutching old man and I see everything that unfolded, I guess you can. How do we stop this in the future?
But Ohio's not built like
But
that.
you just
Michigan is.
Yes.
Like, this
but
is something Michigan
it comes
would
down
do.
to what you said.
Yeah.
You just win the damn game.
Yeah.
But this is a whole state that has a song. They have an anti-state of Michigan song.
F the whole
They
state.
are completely consumed with the greater state
Yeah.
to their north. They literally are the 50th state in the union. I've been to most of them. Ohio's trash. The mistake by the Lake Cleveland, yeah, it was cool when I was 21 to go for one weekend and tell people that I went to, what was that, Buddha, the club there. Otherwise, You go to Columbus once, you don't want to go back. You go to Cincinnati once, you don't want to go back. You go to Cleveland once, you don't want to go back. You sure don't want to drive down there. Sure, I want OSU to beat Michigan. But when they do stuff like this, it just makes me want to root for the Wolverines.
The only
this is weak sauce, and I'm going to say weak sauce because we're on Fox 2. Shout out, but honestly, it is so Ohio.
Yeah.
There couldn't be anything more Ohio.
Yeah, there's only a couple cool things to do in the state of Ohio. One is to go see a Cleveland Indians game because I think they do it well with their downtown area. Maz, I think you will agree on that.
I love it.
Cedar Point.
I love going to Cedar Point.
All right, Cedar Point, I forgot.
And Putin Bay.
Can we annex Cedar Point? Can we take it back somehow?
Okay, Putin Bay.
We never had it, but we should.
Yeah, and Putin Bay is funny. Put some money into it, but at the end of the day, this is just weak. And the crazy thing to me is, this sounds like, and I went to Michigan. Obviously, I'm from the state of Michigan. This sounds like something Michigan would have done. Like if this had been done in Ann Arbor,
I appreciate you for saying that.
It's something Michigan I think they would have done. Ohio is it's the rowdiest place you can go to. I tell my parents all the time when I was in college, don't come down for this game.
Yeah.
Like these people are crazy. They're nuts. Ohio is
It's
backwoods.
all they have.
It's but
They literally have nothing else.
but they
Brad.
were tough. But they were tough.
Yeah.
Were they?
100%. Like back in the day, it was different. Like this, I don't know what this is.
Well, when you got a guy combing his hair with black shoe wax, there's nothing too tough about that team anymore. You got to hope, Ohio. Man, you guys are sad, but you'll be happy if you can get rid of Ryan Day.
Maz, where are you with this? I mean, is it a big nothing burger? Are we making more than it is? Or is it legitly the state of Michigan, most notably Ann Arbor, is really in Ohio's head? This is crazy.
They are. They're in Ohio's head. This is what should have happened. The NCAA should have a rule that none of the flag planting is allowed.
I agree.
Make that a rule, and you're going to get fined. Your school will be fined, and the players that are involved in it could be suspended if they do something like that. But for a state to do it, for a school, just Ohio State. I mean, Bowling Green's not doing it. Toledo's not doing it.
This will be
Ohio State.
This will be statewide, though. This will be for every single game played, whether it's
at Ohio Stadium, I think.
I'm not sure.
Not sure, but who cares?
I'm going to look up the law.
Maybe it is the whole state of Ohio. That's fine. No one's planting their flags anywhere else.
Yeah, look.
They're just not. It is what it is, guys. The NCAA, if they want to, again, no one listens to the NCAA, so maybe that's the reason they didn't come up with a plan. But if anyone is going to come up with a non-flag planting rule, it should be the NCAA and not the schools themselves. It's silly. It's dumb because the state next to you, Michigan, we're not putting that rule up. You can plant a flag anywhere in Michigan. You're not gonna get a felony against you.
Matt,
but in Ohio, you're going to get a felony.
Is this a trend? If they pass this on the floor of the state Senate and they are able to pass it, statewide, NCAA, like you said, they're going to take notice at that point. And if the NCAA takes notice, could this be the last flag planting game we've ever seen?
I doubt it, but it could be, right? It could.
Another thing about this soft-ass Ohio State, because I'm not mad. A picture just came out recently. Did you see the picture, Maz? Did you see the state trooper with the stun gun in the Michigan player's back?
Really?
No, I didn't.
On the field?
I did not.
You can see the cam, the chest cam.
Oh wow.
The body cam.
I didn't click on that.
He's got his taser, it's a yellow taser. He's got it in the back of the Michigan player at the field. Like, this is what we're doing. We're putting tasers in the backs of college players in games.
The pepper spray was enough.
Like, on top of pepper spray, on top of that,
wild.
and like, man, F the whole state of Ohio. Like, that was a shit show that they allowed to go on just all the way around. You see the picture? You
Down in the bowl.
Apologies on that. Fire in the hole on that.
So I got a question.
But it's just, this is childish.
So if they win that game and they rush the field,
right
now, so that's legal. Is that going to be legal in the field?
Leave the stands,
so now you got, 53 guys on each side and a whole bunch of security and some assistant coaches versus OSU wins and you got a few thousand kids on the field. They might not be planting a flag, but there's just as probably more opportunity for problems.
You're 1,000% correct. We've seen highlights over the years. Maz, go back to the Cal Stanford game. Look at all the people, the players that got into it with the band. Look at LeGarrette Blount.
Remember at the end of the 1988 Finals, Game 7, with 5 seconds left, and there's 60 people on the court in L.A.
Do you remember LeGarrette Blount when he was with the Oregon Ducks?
Oh, yes.
The reason why he didn't get drafted in the first round?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Boise State ran on the field, and a player, like a fan, squabbled up with him. He knocked the fan out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
He
yeah.
knocked the fan out. It was
Oh, yeah.
actually
He Jermaine
criminal.
O'Neal'd him.
100. But that's a great point. Like, you can rush the stadium. Those away players are still floating around trying to get to the locker room in the midst of all that. But you're playing a flag where everybody can see and there's an issue.
So I watched that like Great Enemies or something, and it's on Netflix. It's the Lakers and Boston.
Oh, yeah.
And the first time that Boston wins the Eastern
Oh,
Conference.
yeah. That's Ice Cube and Mark Wahlberg.
But yeah, it's very good. And so you see Larry out there get swarmed by people, and he's loving it. He's loving it. Every single time after that, you watch Larry Bird win anything, and he's on a beeline throwing elbows to get into that locker room. Because even if this is your fan base, they're pawing at you. They might be even trying to take your jersey off of you. So
That's crazy.
there is maybe a line where, because I look at these teams that, they've got 4 wins and they happen to beat a 7-win team, and they got 10,000 kids on the field. They got their uprights in the lake.
Yeah.
So maybe Ohio
saw Vanderbilt.
should take out the verbiage about planting a flag, and maybe the NCAA should look at curtailing, allowing thousands and thousands of fans onto the field, unless you're actually winning something real.
I think P has you have the picture. P?
No. I have the actual. According to On3 Sports, I have the actual what the suggestion for the. So the bill would be prohibiting planting a flagpole and flag in the center of the Ohio Stadium, as was football field, on the day of a college football game, and to name this act the Ohio Sportsmanship Act. Notably, this bill specifically references Ohio Stadium, so it would not presumably include flag planting incidents at other college football stadiums in the state of Ohio, or even pro stadiums as well.
You know what that tells me, Pete? They don't care about Bowling Green.
That's right. They don't care about
Or
Bowling.
Cincinnati.
Or anybody.
What it tells
Or
me
Youngstown.
What it tells me is that Ohio State is even softer than I thought it was, because this isn't a state ordinance.
Right.
Right.
It's just a
So
state.
This is just the president and athletic director for Ohio State.
That makes it so much more embarrassing,
It's
to be
worse.
honest. Like, you don't care about any other
man.
school in your state.
Right.
This is just to save face because you can't beat your rival. Period.
Now, I remember when I was in Ohio, you find out that there's money given out by the state each year for institutions. Well, Ohio gives all that money to Ohio State. They give none. He can tell you better than I can. They give none to Bowling Green, Cincinnati, Toledo, Dayton, none of that. They give all that money that's extra. They give it all to Ohio State so they can do the necessary things to help their
You're a
program.
historian of this rivalry.
Yeah.
Has OSU, in their first 2 decades of dominance in the 21st century here, did they plant their flag in the M? Did they ever do that?
No, they had a meeting at midfield.
Yeah, that was when the Michigan was losing at that point.
Well, they did it in 2003, my junior, before the game. Like they jumped on the M and did all that. They didn't plant any flags, but we took it personal. But no flag planting.
Sure.
No flag planting. We would have responded exactly like Ohio State responded, but we wouldn't have been a big deal. It was all right, y'all won. You plant the flag.
Remember when Michigan played the Spartans?
Oh, you talking about with Devin Bush?
Yeah, Devin Bush went and started scraping off the Spartan at midfield.
Well, that's because of what they did. Michigan State does this thing at the end of the warm-ups, and they've been doing it for years. It's a tradition. They walk from goal line to goal line, and they walk all the way down as a united brotherhood. It's a cool thing, to be honest. They do it all the time. They did it on purpose this time before he left the field, and he was on the field, and they went through him.
Right.
And so after they went through him, then he proceeded to do that. Right. But once again, there was no fight. It's a rivalry. It happens. They went on the field, and they decided that you move on. Like, that's sport. That's rivalry.
T.O.'s the one that started all this, right? Terrell Owens?
He had another comment, by the way.
I saw.
T.O. has
He went after Brett Favre this time.
Catch me up.
Whoever gave T.O. X, whoever reminded T.O. that he was T.O. and anything that he says on X, T.O.'s been hot this week on X.
I got to follow.
He talked about Brett Favre. Brett Favre was trying to clear up a situation, some other situation.
He's got a lot of those.
And T.O. was like, you still need to clear up that other situation.
Yeah, he does.
Right. So
He took money.
Yeah. I met T.O.
and lied about it.
I met T.O. at the Players Association Ball in 2003 in Atlanta during the NBA All-Star Weekend. And this man stopped and talked to me and my business partner for 15 minutes. And this was at the height of he's, T.O.'s a problem. I was so impressed with that man coming away. Yeah. He can't really do any wrong. I'm going to have to give him a follow.
T.O.'s he's a great guy, but he's very sensitive.
T.O. and A.B. are making a new name for themselves.
Maybe wide receivers in general. I'm a little sensitive too, so maybe we're sensitive, but
just a little bit.
I can admit that. I'm also a Pisces.
I know A.J. Brown's sensitive.
The pretty guys are always the most sensitive, aren't they, KG?
I know, crazy.
The pretty guys are always the most sensitive, aren't they?
I guess.
All right, enough on me. We're gonna relax on me today.
I was calling you pretty.
I appreciate that. Y'all call me sensitive. Now I'm getting sensitive.
You called yourself sensitive.
See, I messed up. No, the other topic that we wanted to get into, this Bill Belichick thing.
Yeah.
It went from a whisper to get out of here. Well, now it really looks like this thing is legit. This is what we started with. They're finalizing the deal to land Bill Belichick as new football coach down at UNC. Anson, I'll come to you because we talked a little bit about it yesterday.
He gave him a 500-page manifesto on how he's going to run this organization, this team.
It's North Carolina. They haven't won anything, so
well, they had Mac Brown, so they like the old coaches. They get rid of Mac Brown. Now they bring in a guy that's just as old.
I love Mac Brown. Mac Brown was cool. I met Mac Brown. We were about to play Texas in the Rose Bowl in 2004. Super cool guy. You can tell he was a great recruiter. Because he's recruiting me, and I'm a senior. I'm already done with school. He said, man, I would have loved to have had you in Texas.
I just got a thought. Belichick's at North Carolina, right? Who's North Carolina's most famous football alum?
Julius Peppers?
Lawrence Taylor.
Oh, LT.
Who did Bill Belichick coach in the NFL?
LT.
Is LT going to be doing something with him here? Now, I know LT gets in a lot of trouble and stuff.
Not anymore.
Oh, yeah, he still does. He still does. I'm just saying, he's going to bring a lot of his people to that university. They're going to be a player, guys.
Well, and that's why I want to get Anson before I went that route. It's going to be very similar to Deion's shown people the path.
That's where I was going.
You know what? I'll let you go then. Go ahead, Anson. What are your takes on this stuff?
We knew that this guy was going to land somewhere.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to retire. We talked about it before the show. The NFL doesn't want him right now. My biggest concern with him going to any college program is how this new young generation is going to handle this kind of a coach. But as Maz alluded to, if these guys can bring in some of the former players, somebody like LT, somebody like Julius Peppers, to be able to come into a storied program in terms of basketball that they've never really shown the hires to tell us that they want their football program to be at the same level. This is the guy that can do it. That manifesto, the always losing and just irrelevance of the UNC football program, I believe will disappear nearly overnight. I believe that this guy will have very similar, I don't want to use cachet because I think it's used wrong, but he will have that similar pull, magnetism, and polarity that you have with Prime. But this is going to put UNC in the conversation week in and week out on College Game Day. It's going to put them right at the forefront of recruiting. Guys that would never have thought UNC before will be considering it. And I brought it up to you before the show started. You've made fun of UNC and Duke quarterbacks as long as I've known you. I feel like that's going to come to an end. Not only are they going to work the NIL, because he understands the money side of it. He's not caught up in old school college politics the way that we saw Nick Saban is. He's coming in fresh-footed with a clean slate and a program that is desperate for success.
I think it's going to be a good situation. I agree. I mean, you look at how the landscape is now in college football. Anybody can make it to the 12. Mm-hmm. You look at the 12 right now. Arizona State's a 2 seed.
SMU.
Or 3 seed. You got SMU in there. Boise State in there as well. So I think anybody can make it now. North Carolina's as good as had some players over the years. North Carolina has had some pretty good seasons. Now you mix in the basketball squad, which UNC is. Now you mix that in with Bill Belichick. I'll just not miss UNC football. It's Bill Belichick. Now what cachet does he bring, to your point? Look at the former players that he's going to bring around. Look at the excitement that's going to be around. At some point, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are going to make up. And Brady's going to be on the field.
Ooh.
Like 100%, that's what's going to happen. It's a Jordan school. Michigan's a Jordan school. He's going to be on the field. Like, you mean to tell me if you want your son, like, it's a no-brainer for me. This is going to be a good situation. I think taking that year off, I think that's what's going to be the winner in this situation. He's toured with Pat McAfee. He's been on ESPN. He's been in the Tom Brady roast. So his personality has changed a little bit. He's realizing that he can have more fun. He doesn't have to be as guarded and quiet and sheltered. So I think you mix that in with a guy that's one of the greatest coaches of all time. I don't care who his quarterback was. Bill Belichick was like that before he got to the Patriots. Yeah. He was like that when he was defensive coordinator. So now you mix that in with it. He wants to coach. He wants to teach. And this is a good way to do it.
And I think he wants to resurrect his reputation and how he is viewed in the football world.
Yeah.
He took some time away.
Yeah.
He was humbled. He was certainly humbled.
He definitely got humbled.
You know, that team was not good. You watch Brady go and win a championship with Tampa Bay, and then he's gone. And he's kind of, unless you're talking about his girlfriend, we're not talking about Belichick right now.
That would be the only question mark. Here, I'm gonna ask you a question. Let's say you have a son. Let's say you and your wife, you guys have a son. He's a high school star. He's 4 or 5 stars, whatever. And you're sitting down with Bill Belichick. By the way, everybody said, but he's too old to tour. Deion has not left Colorado one time to recruit a player. He's left to make money. All the players go visit Deion, and then they sign the dotted line. Bill Belichick ain't going to no player's house, so you don't have to worry about that. But you're sitting with Bill Belichick, Coach Belichick, and you know that he's got a 25-year-old daughter. What's your wife going to think about that? Like that would be
girlfriend, 25-year-old
girlfriend.
girlfriend.
Girlfriend. That would be the only thing.
I don't think that'll matter. What matters is Bill Belichick.
Not to you, but I'm saying to a wife.
Right.
Like a 72-year-old man has a 25-year-old girlfriend.
Well, the mother of the kid is going to look at Bill and say, "Can you get my son to the NFL?" And he's going to say, "That's why I'm here. I'm going to get your son to the NFL and get drafted." Oh, Bill, we love you. I have a daughter too.
You just made Peace Day right
Shopping his daughter.
You just made Peace Day.
I mean, come on, man. Of course they're gonna love him.
That's real.
It's done.
That definitely is real. KG, man, like it's Bill Belichick, but it's 2024. It's college scene, man. What does it look like?
You already know I'm a little contrarian on this, just because of how it ended in the NFL. Yeah. This man couldn't necessarily get along with grown men, so I just don't know how he deals with kids in this new NIL era of college football. Because what do you do once you have the disgruntled, high-paid player that came to your school and now he wants things done his way? Bill Belichick ain't finna take that. So it's just, I don't know. I have questions. Do I think it's a good move for UNC? Absolutely. Just based off of his connections, how we can get kids to the league, all the money he's going to be able to pull in for everybody involved with that program. But I just don't know if this is the best move for Bill Belichick. But it's yet to be seen. If he took the time to really humble himself as a coach and is coming back to this thing and is going to be a fresh, kind of coach, kind of like how Jim Harbaugh had to humble himself after 2020. If he can do what Jim Harbaugh did, then I have no arguments at all. I just wonder how he fits into an NIL landscape in this current climate. That's all.
What have we said, me, you, and Ryan?
I like that.
There have been no name coaches anymore.
Oh, no, they're not.
It's over. Nick Saban's
Jim.
out. Everyone's gone.
Dabo's holding on by
Guess
a thread.
who's back?
Literally.
Guess who's putting it back? It's Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick.
Now, all of a sudden, North Carolina is coached by the great Bill Belichick, who's going to be in the NFL Hall of Fame the minute he retires.
Here's another thought. This could be a trend, Maz, and it could be something. You know why? Like, who makes more money? College coaches or NFL coaches?
College.
College coaches make more money.
Yep.
And now you're also looking at a situation where, like, let's say you're a Sean Payton type of guy or a Bill Belichick type of guy, where you like having all the power. You like being the GM. You like running the team. You like being the coach. Hell, you're the offensive coordinator. You want to do all these things. So me and tell me I can go to a college program, make $10 to $13 million or so, maybe more, have all the power and all the autonomy and do what the hell I want to do with this squad. And now I can even use it like the NFL where there's free agency, kind of, sort of, with the transfer portal. You know what? Yeah, let me do this because I'm not going to win a Super Bowl. Let me come down here and do this. This could be something, man.
And-
It could be the reverse.
And I respect so much the choice of UNC. This isn't, let's go to Clemson, let's go to Arkansas, like Colorado. Yeah, they were super down, but Colorado has been there in the past. They've been a great college team. UNC, obviously, a storied college in terms of basketball and just old school tradition. But this is a team, a program, that if he's successful with, he can cash his ticket anywhere he wants to go. He can go back to the NFL. He can take over Alabama. There's a question I'll save for intern Alex, which I'm sure you guys at home can probably guess. But if he can take a UNC football team that has never done anything but flirt with some ACC relevance and make them a power team in the NCAA, this is that true feather on top of how many rings?
Yeah, I'm talking 9 rings, I believe.
Has he ever coached college before this?
No, he hasn't coached college before. I know. I was thinking about it.
He was a Lions assistant coach
way back in the day.
Way back in the day. But I think this is the thing with him. I thought he was going to try to chase Don Shula. Guess what? He don't give a damn. He just wants to coach.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him.
Also,
I'm really happy for him.
Also, too, like the Don Shula thing, I think, Nick Wright said this, so I don't want to steal Nick Wright's thunder. Andy Reid's about to break that record anyway. Yeah, so legitimately, if he was coming back to break the record, like Andy Reid right now is at 296. So after this season, he'll be at 300, 301, give or take. Yeah. So legitimately, soon as Bill breaks the record and retires, Andy's breaking it the very next year.
Right.
Because he just signed that extension last year, if I'm not correct, for 5 years.
What is the record?
347.
Okay, and where does Belichick sit? Is he in
333.
333. I got you.
333.
Now, I don't know if we want to keep this, but if there is a final question I have for you guys,
I have one for
Belichick.
you before intern Alex came on. Go ahead.
Okay. Is this a step back to the NFL? Do you guys see him having 3-4 years of success, and his ultimate mission is to get back to the NFL?
He's going to pull a hardball.
No, I think he's too old. I think this is it.
This is it?
The reason he's taking this job, first of all, he's going to get paid. He's going to get the coach again. And his son, Steven, I think it's in his 500-page manifesto that when he retires, Stephen Belichick will be the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Okay.
So he's doing it for his kid.
Yeah, but
as well as
kid
himself.
Takes over, what does he do? Is he just done with?
Yeah, he's done.
I don't know.
He's 70.
He's done.
Or 71.
He ain't coming back to the NFL.
Yeah, that's tough.
If he takes this job, it's over.
Because you figure he does, 2 years at least with UNC? That puts him at 73, and now to go do the NFL and all that taxing.
So third year, they make the playoff. They get into the final 4 teams. Maybe they lose. They don't win a national championship. But he's taken, I can't even say resurrected.
He's put him on the map.
Absolutely. For the first time ever for
they
their
will
football
be
program.
on the map.
But let's say he's 74, 75. He's third
Julius
year.
Pepper and Ronald Curry and Dre Blatt was nice.
Yeah, they not
at 74, 75. The Browns might be interested.
Ashton Genty, Travis Hunter. Obviously, we know they're the 2 bet-on favorites for a Heisman Trophy. Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think should win?
Ashton Genty, I think, will win because he's putting up numbers that only Barry has ever done. And those are astronomical numbers. However, in my opinion...
Don't sleep on Melvin Gordon.
My favorite college football player is probably the same as yours. His name's Charles Woodson. I was living in Russia when he won that damn Heisman, too. I didn't even know.
True.
But to have a defender... Steve Entman was the only one that was ever close to winning the Heisman.
Oh, you told yeah.
Yep. And so seeing what Hunter means to that team on both sides of the field, because he doesn't have all one stats in one category, it takes away from what he has done and how much impact he has for that team. That's my Heisman.
Okay.
Hunter is my Heisman. God, I would love to have him on the Lions, man.
Yeah. Man, well, you know what? I'm glad you said that because we got another guy on the phone right now that can tell us who he thinks his Heisman should be. But first, let's get a message in from Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential. You see the guns, you see the traps, you see what it is today. And you know, I do a little something, man. Look, with over 50 metropolitan Detroit locations, Planet Fitness is the gym. It's clean, it's safe. You come in, there's no judgment, and whatever membership you buy, look, there's a trainer for it. So it's the best way to get in shape. It's the best place to be. And also, it's fitness that fits into your budget. So look, man, we don't want to break the pockets. We want to get you in shape. We want you to keep a little bread in that pocket as well, man. Come down to Planet Fitness because your fitness It's essential.
And the tequila that Braylon would pick after a workout is clearly 1800 tequila. It's the official
Fresh
tequila.
out the gym.
Oh, yeah. You already know. Hey, a hot shot of that, man.
No Gatorade first.
Yeah. The official tequila Woodward Sports Lions watch parties and post-game show. Join 1800 Tequila and Woodward Sports every single Lions game. We will be up there this Sunday live at Hayes Social in Shelby Township and celebrate all those wins. About to crack another one with Smooth 1800 Tequila. Proud sponsor of your and our Detroit Lions. 1800 Tequila is the best taste in tequila, and please, y'all, drink responsibly.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Get energized for the holidays during the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Now through December 20th, join for $1 down, $15 a month. And recharge this holiday season and beyond in the clean and spacious judgment-free zone, filled with equipment for every workout. Stay motivated with free fitness training and lots more. Celebrate the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Join for $1 down, $15 a month. Hurry! Offer ends December 20th.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Hey guys, dreaming of a new home but feeling in a financial pinch? Mark White and Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's $5,000 right off the top. Give Mark White and Associates a call today. 248-290-8242. Hit him up online as well, markwhitesells.com. Again, that number, 248-290-8242, to make your dreams come true.
If you're not getting your hair cut at Lady Jane's, what are you even doing? Your hair must be a mess. These guys, they got 7 days a week they are open, and they welcome walk-ins, no issues. But they got that $20 haircut special going on right now. It includes a scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and the hot towel treatment. Lay back, relax, and let one of our very, very talented stylists here at Lady Jane's get you ready for the holidays. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome indeed. Welcome back to the show. We are joined now by the main man, Alex. Intern Alex. What's going on, Intern
Alex Z.
Hey, how's it going, you know?
Hey, buddy.
Finals in Ann Arbor, but we got a lot of football news to keep up with, so it's been a fun balancing act the past few weeks.
A lot of football, a lot of things to talk about, but you know what we got to start with? The new rule that the Ohio State is implementing for their stadium. Like, geez, like come on, Alex. Like, what's going on in Ohio State, man? They used to be a little tougher than that. At least when I was in college, it's a bunch of soft you-know-what's down there now.
Yeah, Woody Hayes is rolling over in his grave about this.
Good call.
Stark contrast between them tearing down the banner before the tie game in 1973, or when they tried a second time in 1977, and a big fight broke out that even Woody Hayes got involved in and shoved away some of the Michigan varsity athletes who were defending
he liked
the
to hit
banner.
players.
So yeah, it's
Charlie Bellman.
it's just completely
Baylor, right?
soft.
No, Clemson.
Yeah.
Charlie Bellman.
Clemson. That's right.
I'll accept that.
But they are there is a loophole in the rule. You're not allowed to plant the flag in the middle of the field, but there's nothing against planting one of the O's in the end zone where it says Ohio State. So in 2026,
Hey, now you cooking.
Michigan just needs to pick a new spot on the field to go
I
plant.
love it.
So
Now you cook it out.
Now
100%.
that's that big Wolverine brain right there.
That's my guy right there, man. Look, man, they need to start worrying about that and start worrying about the national championship because they still have a chance to win it. So let's jump into that. 12 teams. We now know who plays who. What are your first initial thoughts? This is the first year. You got your 12 teams. You got it lined up. As soon as you saw it, what was your first reaction, your first thought?
Well, my first thought is I was super glad that the committee did not punish SMU for making the ACC championship game by putting them in over Alabama. I really thought Alabama was going to get the benefit of the doubt for no particular reason other than the name that they were Alabama. So I was glad to see that. Then when I saw Ohio State play Tennessee, since we were just talking about them, in all honesty, even though the game's at home, I think Ohio State loses no matter what.
Yeah.
I think this team will be just completely broken after that Michigan game, similar to what we saw, from Michigan teams in years during the drought
Peace
in the early Harbaugh era. I think they're going to lose no matter what, but it'll be really fun to watch, and it'll be a great weekend of football coming up.
Alex, my guy, good to talk to you again. And, of course, we have to talk about the newest hire at Michigan, offensive coordinator, man. It is Chip Lindsey. He's got a long, extensive coaching history. He's been at Utah. He's been at Auburn. He has been at UNC the past couple years. But what do you expect from Chip Lindsey? And, just talk about, what do you expect to see from him with Bryce Underwood under center?
Yeah, so first, I get more and more excited the more I learn about Chip Lindsey. He's put a lot of quarterbacks in the league who honestly maybe shouldn't have had NFL pedigree, between Jarrett Stidham and Nick Mullins at Southern Mississippi. I know they're not stars, but they are people he helped put in the league. And he has a lot of different offensive backgrounds he worked under. He's worked in air raid. He's worked under Gus Malzahn, so some RPO stuff. He's worked under Todd Monken, who's now the offensive coordinator for the Ravens and was for Georgia during their national title runs. So it's interesting, and I think the big reason Michigan's bringing him in is for his passing game concepts. Because as we saw this year, Michigan definitely needs to update that. It was something that was missing. But I think this is a Michigan offense that we're not really going to totally rework in a way. I think a lot of the run game schemes work, and I think Michigan doesn't want to move away from that. So they're bringing a guy who was proven to be able to develop quarterbacks and will add something new and fresh to the passing game. So it's pretty exciting.
Alex, I just noticed something. One of my favorite rappers when I was younger was Nas, and his partner was AZ, a.k.a. AZ Addict. That's going to be your new nickname. I'm going to call you AZ.
Hey.
You've graduated. I got to stop calling you intern Alex. AZ will be your new name.
That's fire.
One of the things that I want to get out of conversation about the CFP is, where are you in terms of Arizona State being ranked so high? I can't think of it.
Boise.
Boise State. When you look at the rankings and you look at Arizona State, you look at Boise State, Maz had a suggestion. The suggestion is, after you get your 12, once you get them compact, when you get them in there, now you reseed. Now you reseed based off of what you've seen, as opposed to teams winning conferences. Because Arizona State at number 2, give me a break.
I'll be honest with you, I'm still a fan of it. I think winning your conference should mean something in college football. I think regionality is one of the best and most fun parts of college football. So I'm totally okay with it. One gripe I guess I kind of have with it is more just on ESPN's part, is when they're actually showing the seeding in the show, they need to stop putting up the team's actual ranking next to their seed. So it's so confusing when you see stuff like Boise State's the 3 seed, but they're ranked number 9. They just have to do away with that and just go with the seeding at this point. But your conference really should matter, and who knows, maybe in the future we will see the SEC and Big Ten throw their weight around and get more auto bids and try to get rid of the conference championship buys. But for now, I think we should let this play out for a few years and see how it all works.
All right, I'm gonna shut up there.
Alex, what was your thought on Alabama getting bumped for SMU?
Oh, they deserve it. Alabama's a great group of players, but they have some bad losses. They lost to Vanderbilt. They got absolutely embarrassed at Oklahoma. I believe it's the second time they've only scored that many points, that few in my lifetime. They had terrible losses, and sure, they may beat Georgia at home, but they almost blew that game as well. So they do not deserve to compete for a national championship.
Hey, look, I was happy SMU made it, but in reality, when you're comparing the two schools, come on, man. SMU didn't play anybody except the final game against Clemson, and Clemson barely got in that game.
Hey, they beat a good BYU, but this is why you play the games. I mean, if the SEC voted unanimously for conference expansion and Alabama to pay the price by losing to Oklahoma,
That's
if we
true.
just went simply based on who we think is better, let's just have DraftKings determine the college football playoff, because they will 100% be able to tell us who the best 12 teams in America are. So
Yeah,
this is why you
you're
have the
right.
games in the regular season, and if you don't like it, go out and win. An F hurts you more in school than an A does, and the same thing should go with a loss in college football.
How about Notre Dame not having a conference? I'm really sick and tired of this, honest to be honest.
Maz hates everything
sorry.
about the college football playoff of 12 except
No,
the 12 teams.
I love the
That's what I say,
college
except
football
the 12,
playoff.
except the 12
Yeah,
teams.
but come on, man. Get in a conference.
It's not changing, man.
You're sitting home when everyone else is playing in a conference championship game, and if you lose that conference championship game, there's a chance you fall out of the playoff. What's your take on Notre Dame? I mean, how much longer we got to put up with this crap?
A long
Forever.
I think for a long time, honestly, because in the end, even though they're not making as much money from the NBC cable deal comparative to the rest of college football as they once were, if you're looking at this and you're the new athletic director of Notre Dame, who I can't remember whose name is right now, you're going to get a lot more revenue each year for having a pretty much guaranteed home game if Notre Dame keeps up its current pace under Marcus Freeman. They'll get an extra home game, home field advantage, and so what if they miss the bye? They'll get more revenue. They'll get a hostile environment, and sometimes, as we're seeing, if the schools like the Arizona States and Boise States get these byes, if you're one of the lower seeds or the higher seeds of the non-conference champions, you might have an easier path to actually make the semifinals in the championship. So I don't really see any reason why Notre Dame would want to join a conference anytime soon, unless we see in the next round of TV deals, the Big Ten and SEC deal just balloons so much that Notre Dame can no longer keep up.
Yep.
Alabama, you want to get into the college football playoff of 12, don't lose to Vanderbilt.
Right.
Let's just call it a day. Don't lose to Vanderbilt for your third loss. That's it. There's nothing else to talk about.
AZ, I am curious, are you familiar with the Illmatic album?
I've heard of it, but can't necessarily say I've ever put in the time into
You've
it.
got some homework tonight, courtesy of your boy Braylon over
We'll
here.
get you in the game, man. We'll get you in the game.
So
Put you on the
do,
firm.
Braylon will kind of second what I think your response will be to this, but we did watch Bill Belichick land a job at UNC, drop a 500-page manifesto.
It was 492 pages.
My bad, Maz. Now, my question is was this an opportunity that Michigan fans would have liked to have seen come to fruition, bringing Bill Belichick there? I know that a lot of you guys are happy with Sharon Moore. I know what Braylon's answer was when I asked him this before the show. Where do you sit on the Bill Belichick hiring? Is it something you would have liked to have seen happen in Michigan? I know that you're pretty happy with Sharon Moore, but I'd just like to get your thoughts on Belichick.
Yeah, so my thoughts on the Belichick hiring is it's kind of like jump-starting a car right now, where the North Carolina football program's kind of been seen as a sleeping giant for years and years in the college football community. And by bringing Belichick and having their administration meet his 492 pages of demands shows that they're actually serious in buying into the football program long-term, where if you're a school like Michigan, you don't really need to do that. And when you go out and hire a coach like Sharon, you're looking for the next Bo Schembechler or someone who will be there for 15, 20, 30 years. And I do not think bringing in a 70-year-old coach would really make sense for Michigan. They're not in the need for a bridge coach. They're not looking for someone who can modernize the program as much in the way that Belichick will at North Carolina. So I think it's great for a school like North Carolina. One thing that's going to be really interesting with Belichick there is currently the #1 recruit in the country on 24/7 Sports is a quarterback from North Carolina who's committed to Tennessee. So you have to imagine that might be his Bryce Underwood moment, so to say, of him showing he's really modernizing the program and bringing it forward. But I think it's a great hire for them, but I don't think it really makes sense for a blue blood like Michigan.
Hey, Alex, I want to go through the college football playoff first round with you. Give me your winners. Ready? First game.
Okay.
On a Friday night. Indiana at Notre Dame. Tickets were going for over $2,000 to get in Notre Dame Stadium for this game.
No way.
Yeah, it's the first time they've played in a long time. I still like Notre Dame, though. As good as Indiana's offense is and stuff, I think that Ohio State game just kind of exposed that once they go up against a team that just has better talent on paper and stuff that they will go through. I think Marcus Freeman is a really good coach. He's kind of ironing out a lot of those in-game blunders he's made recently. So I like the Irish in this one.
All right, let's go to Saturday afternoon, the opener at noon. SMU at Penn State. It's a whiteout, even though it's the daytime.
Yeah, I mean, just that environment and also I feel like it's as stupid to say the climate. A school from Dallas playing in State College, Pennsylvania on December 21st, I believe, is not a very favorable matchup for them. So I think Penn State keeps on the ground. They look great against Oregon. When we see offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki really cook and put out some exotic plays and stuff, that Penn State offense can really get going. And I just have a hard time seeing that SMU defense being able to stop them and win in that environment. So I think the Nittany Lions move on.
All right, Clemson at Texas is the 4:00 game.
Yeah, so revenge game for Clemson. Quarterback Cade Klubnik, he's actually a kid from Austin. It's a little fun fact. So he'll have a revenge homecoming. And Texas, honestly, my brain really wants to take Texas here because they look so good against Michigan, seeing them firsthand. But they have not really played a tough schedule, and they did not look good either time against Georgia. Now, they looked a lot better against Georgia than Clemson did, so I still take Texas, but I think Clemson keeps it a lot closer than people think.
And finally, the nightcap, Tennessee at Ohio Stadium at the penitentiary.
Yeah, give me the Vols here. Bias aside, I think this Ohio team and fan base is going to be completely broken mentally. Even Kirk Herbstreit was talking about it on the College Football Playoff selection.
Oh, they don't like him.
The first time this Ohio State offense goes 3 and out, they're all going to be getting booed by the stadium around them. And I just think when it rains, it pours for Ryan Day. And an embarrassing loss could be his last game at Ohio State. But I think the Vols walk out with a win.
Wow. Good calling, Al. Good calling.
He's AZ. You can see him every Wolverine Wednesday with her, sponsored by Skinny Butcher. We appreciate having him on the show, and you just get better and better. The little tidbit about the guy from Austin, like I don't know how you do it. You just find ways.
Lack of hobbies. What can I say?
Keep being good, AZ, and we'll check in with you next week, man. Have a good weekend and a good rest of your week, my guy, AZ.
See you, Alex.
All right. Thank you.
Nice job.
He is really good at what he does.
Fantastic.
Rising star, man.
Fantastic.
You see how he just slid the tidbit in there real smooth too? He was out and a little tidbit. He's also from Austin, so this would be a good. Like, okay, I see you out here working the steps. I see you. It's I did some homework last night, man. I had some fun with it. Little cap, no cap, man.
Get your cap ready.
I'm ready for it.
You guys up for some cap, no
Let's
cap?
go.
Always.
Let's go.
Let's have some fun, man. Where's
Sure.
the big cap? Is the big cap even in?
Oh, is the big cap in?
Go ahead and grab that for me real quick, Anson. You guys know how to play the game. I will give a phrase, and then you tell me if it's cap or no cap. You guys know what cap means, so I think we can start rocking and rolling. Peace, spy back.
Yes,
my
sir.
man, you ready to go?
Numero uno.
All right, here we go. Well, we know he's probably not going to win MVP. That's probably a 3-man race right now. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Saquon Barkley. But does he have a chance to win Offensive Player of the Year? As you look at his stats, they're just as good as anybody with the exception of the guy that plays in Cincinnati who won't make the playoffs. So cap or no cap, Jared Goff has a chance for Offensive Player of the Year. Anson.
Well, if we're talking about a chance, of course he has a chance, but it is cap because
like a chance means like top 3.
It's Saquon's year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Period. I mean, this guy is the best. Really, we should be talking before this year started about Saquon maybe being the best running back that we've ever seen in the NFL in its history. And the fact that he was mired in, obscurity in New York behind a terrible offensive line with a terrible quarterback and even worse coaching, we're seeing what this guy's capable of with a real offense, with a real offensive line. I mean, the guy's doing backwards jump, flips, missed tackles. It's his year. He should get all the accolades. He deserves them all.
Still pretty impressive that move was. They try to compare it. You see the high school kid did the same, similar deal. He jumped over two guys. People. And people were like trying to rip it to shreds. Why can't we just say everything is good or great?
They added it to Madden.
I saw that.
That's amazing.
I saw the cap or no cap, KG.
This is cap because, like he said, this is Saquon's award. Like, Saquon won't win MVP, but he will win this. He's close to breaking Eric Dickerson's record. Did you say that he was going to be like the best back? Like,
I
ever?
heard that. That's
what
why
I'm saying is, if this guy didn't start with the Giants, we'd be talking about maybe this guy being the best back of all time.
Okay, yeah,
I can rock with that.
I can rock with that. But yeah, this is Saquon's award.
Okay, I don't think we need to go to Maz and Pete on this one because I know what they're going to say. But let's do it anyway. Maz, where you at?
I'm going to answer cap on this and very much cap on Anson. for Saquon over Barry Sanders.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
I was waiting for
Saquon's
that.
a great runner, but there's nobody like Barry Sanders. I mean, nobody.
Ding, ding, ding.
And I have subscribed to that my entire life. What I have seen with Saquon, I put him right there. And if this guy continues to have longevity, where you see 10 years of him doing great stuff, I'm sorry, man. It's really hard to knock Saquon in the all-time conversation.
You probably won't see him doing
can
this.
put
for
him in the
another 10
all-time.
years.
His
When
hands,
he's
though,
done.
man. I mean, when you look at what he can do receiving, he runs like Barry, but he catches like Marshall.
Nobody runs like Barry.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know, man.
That's true.
I don't know.
He runs
Barry
like
has ball
Saquon,
bearings
man.
for ankles.
When you go back to his Penn State footage, even the stuff that he was doing while he had 11 guys around him trying to tackle him because nobody could block in New York, this guy is so special.
I do agree that the Giants stunted his growth, but just as far as being all time, he's not getting another 10 years of what he's doing now.
Your homework tonight is to watch the Barry documentary again, just to refresh your memory.
Just starting college.
Go to
though.
Netflix.
Just starting college.
Search Barry.
I know it. But again, I'm not saying he's better. But if this guy landed on a halfway decent team, the conversation around Saquon Barkley right now, not only Offensive Player of the Year, not only MVP, but is this the greatest ever?
You forget who the Barry played for?
I do, but he also played with a good Lions team for about half of his career.
Okay.
So now we're calling him a good Lions team, and we're giving that as an excuse why Barry Sanders was good. A team that won how many
Listen,
playoff games?
I'm not knocking Barry by any means.
Right.
I think that no Jim Brown, no Emmitt Smith, no anybody else.
Right.
But the only guy that I've ever watched run and do the magician type stuff that Barry does is Saquon. Saquon's bigger. Saquon can catch the ball better. And again, he was on a terrible team in a passing era.
Well, I will give you this conversation. I'll help you out. You can have the most talent, but not necessarily be on track to be the best. Because if you're just talking about talent, Saquon can catch better than Barry out of the backfield. That's not even up for debate, and that's no lie. Mm-hmm. Barry's an all-around better running back than he was. You look at what Barry was able to do in college. You look at what he was able to do in the league. Like, Barry was always on par. And he stayed healthy too.
That's the big knock on Saquon is those injuries.
Before you get to Barry,
contract.
there's a bunch of other running backs that Saquon will have to be better than Marshall Falk.
Right.
But I truly
LaDainian Tomlinson.
I truly feel like
he's the name too.
But he's been robbed.
Walter
Like
Payton,
you said, that
Eric
they stunted
Dickerson.
their growth. The Giants stunted their
Just
growth.
to name a few
KG.
more.
This kid's
Tony
been
Dorsett.
robbed of the opportunity to be in that conversation.
Okay,
I could
I
jive
give
with
you
that.
that.
Yeah, I
The
could jive
Giants have ruined another career.
Mm-hmm.
They won a playoff game with them, though.
They did. Well, what else we got on here, P? Let's get this thing rocking
here's
and rolling
something
because we
else.
also do have Dan Miller coming up.
Yep.
So let me try to speed through some of these.
Right.
I'll just go two. Each cap or no cap, we'll just do two. Mavs, Pistons. Are they giving you enough to believe in?
I still think they could be a play-in team when it's all said and done. Obviously, they're playing better teams now, and that beatdown that Milwaukee gave them, I was surprised about that beatdown. I thought they would be on par with Milwaukee at that point. They weren't. So that kind of took me back a little bit.
Okay.
But Cade is outstanding. They danced all over the Knicks at Madison Square Garden, and they play tomorrow night at Boston. That's going to be a big challenge for them. But, yeah, I still believe in them to get to the play-in game. So
no cap.
No cap.
Anson, Pistons guy, big Pistons guy. Who are you with this one right here? Cap or no cap?
They're in my veins, baby.
Okay,
I never
I like
lost belief. They're hard to watch for a long time. But if you take out the first 4 games of this season, again, we've talked about how last year was backwards season. Nothing was built last year. So they came in with a completely raw slate, no identity, no understanding of who they were. They fumbled through their first 4 games. Since then, they're basically a 500 club that is still not sure who they are. There's so much belief on my part, so absolutely no cap. These guys, the end of the season, come springtime, everybody's going to be talking about the Pistons.
KG.
No cap, but define believe in. Are we talking about believing them to get to the playoffs? Because I definitely believe they can get to the playoffs.
No, believe in, because before the season started, like, I mean, obviously there was a little bit more because of what Trajan had done in the offseason, but before you bring in Trajan Lane, there's no belief in this organization within the last 4 years. 100%.
No, if from organization down, like absolutely is giving me something to believe in. This is totally different from what we saw the past 2 to 3 years. Cade is evolving into a superstar in front of our eyes.
And an angry one, too. I love the way he's playing this year.
Yeah, man, but he wants to win, and it's all from wanting to win. So I'm happy to see it. Are they a finished product? Not by a long shot, but they are heading in the right direction, and it's beautiful to see.
I like it. Pete, clip to the next one, and I'll start with you. Here we go. Tigers. I'm sorry that just happened to fall on you. We know how you feel.
And this wasn't planned.
Tigers will botch the offseason. Pete, cap or no cap?
Pete about to go off.
Go off, what the F do you think?
Go off, Pete.
They're sponsored by AARP this year. They've opened the Del Boca Vista retirement community over there by bringing in a 37-year-old pitcher with possible CTE, and they're looking at another 37-year-old baseball player who struck out 334 times in the last 2 seasons.
Get him, Pete.
Jeez, old Pete's worth a cap. Oh my God. Oh!
Pete, I love
my
it.
answer.
I guess we're going cap on that.
Yes.
No cap.
Oh, you said no cap.
No
they
cap.
will botch you off season. I'm sorry. Maz.
Look at Maz understanding cap, no cap rules.
This is, are you ready? This is cap. This is cap. The Tigers are not done.
Okay.
I believe that they will sign a name player, not Mark Canha. I joke about that. They will have a Bregman or someone of that ilk sign on this team. I promise you, they are not done. Maybe the winter meetings is not their spot, but they will sign a player with a name that's going to help this team. They might even make a trade and have a couple of guys that have been on the team last year switch over to another team, and I put Torkelson in that conversation. I say cap.
It sounds good, Anson Wells, but what do you think?
I got to agree, because coming into last year, I felt that people were ludicrous for thinking that this was a playoff team. But those non-name signings and one pitcher with a name got them into the playoffs and got them a piece through the trade market. It might not be what Detroit Tiger fans want, the big names, but they're going to be guys that help this team, and ultimately the Tigers' future is in their farm system.
I got a little insider information about what happened with the Tigers this season as it relates to the playoff run and how they were using players and they were bringing in guys. So when they were way out of the playoffs, this came inside source, when they were way out of the playoffs, they just said, hey, look, let's just throw them at, let's put a bunch of guys in there. It doesn't matter. They didn't believe. This is the Tigers. This is the front office. They didn't believe that the players that started playing, like the Malloys, like the just name their roster.
Yeah.
Parker Meadows.
Parker Meadows exploded.
All of
Kerry Carpenter.
They didn't even believe these guys were backups, and they were going to get rid of them. So they just said, just play them for the rest of the year. We're not going to make the playoffs. Make sure everybody's healthy. Just see what we can see. It is what it is. The season's over. Well, then they went on that run, and they were like, holy. Yeah. They're getting better and better, and they're figuring it out. They thought those players were washed, bad players, didn't expect anything of them, was going to remove all of them at the end of the season. And then they went on this run.
They had
and now
no
they're
idea what they were doing. I told you that from the get-go.
100%, and I said that to say that.
Yep.
They knew not what they did. All right, let's get another one. Oh, you want to take a break?
Yeah,
Dan Miller's on?
Probably best, yep.
Let's do it then. Dan Miller's in the building, so let's get a message in from KDK Law.
That's me.
That's you.
We're here in Birmingham, right where the KDK headquarters are at. These guys have got your back if you're dealing with divorce, child custody, visitation, or any other kind of family law situation. Kevin and Catherine have been doing it for over 10 years, and they're available to you 24/7. You see that QR code right above my head? Give it a scan or give them a call at 248-971-0476, and make sure that your friends at Woodward sent you. Tell them that, and they will take care of your filing fee, all right? KDK Law, they got your back.
Don't forget our good friend, our sports injury expert. It's Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. He joins us every Tuesday on Big D Energy. He joins us here on Thursdays on Ermanni and Edwards. Dr. Pierce is here to keep you in the game, performing at your best. Trust the guide at DMAC and Braylon Trust. Dr. Jeff Pierce, Michigan Sports and Spine.com.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward in Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and woodwardsports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go!
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Get energized for the holidays during the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Now through December 20th, join for $1 down, $15 a month. And recharge this holiday season and beyond in the clean and spacious judgment-free zone, filled with equipment for every workout. Stay motivated with free fitness training and lots more. Celebrate the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Join for $1 down, $15 a month. Hurry, offer ends December 20th.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. Is that an octopus in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? See what I did there? Go Red Wings! From Octopi Experts, Woodward Sports.
Tomorrow, new opening, grand opening. That is another Ziolkowski's popping up on your Heartland, 145 Clyde Road. Check this out. From 48, you can go in there and you can register for a chance to win pizza for a year. Free pizza, that is. Got to put the emphasis on the word free. Free pizza for a year is dope, especially that it's Ziolkowski's. You know about the crispy, the chicken, the fountain sodas. But that pizza is free for a year. So you just pull up on them, Harlan. I know there's some people out there. Tell them Braylon sent you, and they might put you to the head of the line. Get the free pizza for a year. It's convenient.
If you haven't figured it out already, winter is coming. And if you're overdue for a new car, you got to beat that holiday rush and get an amazing deal from Les Stanford Chevrolet. They got the Blazer EV 2LT with all-wheel drive for only $149 per month, or take a step up to the Equinox EV LT for only $169 per month. Get to Les Stanford today, or click on the QR code that's right above my head and check out their massive inventory. Don't forget, Les Stanford has Cadillac, Buick, and GMC as well. Les Stanford in Dearborn and Ferndale, lesstanford.com.
This past Sunday, the Detroit Lions win their 11th when they're 10th and 11th. Yeah, 11th. I said it right the first time. My apologies. You know what I'm saying? It didn't sound right, but it is true. They won their 11th in the row. And every Wednesday we get a chance to talk to this man right here about how the Detroit Lions are winning. Fox 2's own Dan Miller. What's up, Dan?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Great.
Doing real good, man. You see, we had a little back wall for you. Usually it's the Lions players or it's Dan Campbell, but today I said let's put the other Dan in there. So we got Dan Miller in the middle of Jared Goff and Dan Campbell.
I see that. Look at that, those three. I said to Maz earlier, which one of those paychecks is not like the other?
That's a damn good one. Dan, you've had almost 10 days off, you know what I'm saying, with a Thursday to a Sunday. How's your weekend been? What did you do on Sunday?
Weekend was nice, man. I just chilled out and, was hoping we'd get a little help against the Vikings. Falcons didn't do anything there. Hoping we'd get a little help against Philadelphia. Carolina was close, didn't get any help there, but it's always nice just to kick back, watch some football, watch conference championship games and chill and know your work's behind you and you got a little bit of time.
Dan, we can get into the Green Bay game, but I think the big thing for us is people coming back, players coming back. We had some players practice today, and we got some players practicing tomorrow. Just talk a little bit about some of those guys coming back and what to expect for Lions fans in the lineup this week coming up.
Yeah, when you got Buffalo coming up, look, when you got the stretch coming up, it's huge. But when you got Buffalo coming up and you got to handle Josh Allen, if you can get Levi back out there, if you can get Pascal back out there and Aleem can get out of protocol, that's huge. We'll see if Reeder's able to go, but those seem to be the guys that were back out at practice this week. It's all hands on deck. And look, you got a month left in this season. You're trying to protect the number one seed in the NFC. You're trying to protect the NFC North. And you're going to have to, look, if you've won 11 straight and basically gotten no wiggle room from Minnesota, you realize, man, we're going to have to handle this ourselves. So they just got to keep doing it, keep winning, and finding a way to handle their own business. And clearly you're not going to be able to hope for help from anybody else or expect it, and just keep doing what you're doing. But getting some of those guys back is huge. That was a heck of a win against Green Bay. But is that sustainable, running guys out there that haven't been here for a month and not having your top performers? Man, as you get late in the season, that gets more difficult.
Dan, did you have a chance to watch the Buffalo game on Sunday? I rewatched it again last night against the Rams. What's your thought on them? They're fighting for the number 2 spot with the Steelers. We're all Steeler fans this week. They play the Eagles.
Yeah, look, they're really good. I mean, and this quarterback is playing as well as he's played since he's coming to the league. He's able to run it. He's able to throw it. He's got some weapons. He's just playing with a confidence. We've seen him kind of be up and down a little bit at times during his career and have some disappointments, but he just looks so confident in what he's doing right now. And he is such a problem when he gets out of that pocket. He's so big. He's fast. He'll run through you. He can run around you if he has to. This is just one of those challenges that you got to figure out a way to deal with, and he's going to be a problem for people going forward. And obviously, look, defensively they had some problems against Stafford. Matthew lit him up, but I don't know how often they're going to have a day like that. Can you count on a 44-42 game? Every time you think you know in this league, it ends up being 17-13, and it goes the other way. So I just think you got to be ready again. If there's one thing this team has done, guys, it is figure out a way to win, whatever it is, low scoring, high scoring, shootout, come back in the second half, whatever it is. That's been the secret sauce to winning 11 games in a row. They just got to figure it out again against Buffalo. I don't know what it's going to take. Be clean. Don't turn it over. Don't give Allen short fields. Find a way to get it done on Sunday, whatever it takes.
Dan, the man, always a pleasure. And, we talked to Dave Burkett earlier in the week, and I asked him about the defense because although they threw up 31 points on us, I felt like the defense played a very good game. You were getting performances from people we ain't even heard of. I mean, just the fact that you have so many players stepping up that are new to this situation or are just being brought in because of the injuries. And then when you just look at just how they made Jordan Love uncomfortable the whole entire game. Can you just speak to the job that AG is doing with this defense, and what were some of your takeaways from the Packers game and how the defense played?
Man, it was amazing. Look, when you're talking about 4 guys that have been here for less than a week coming in and playing, and then you did the same thing with David Long earlier, you did the same thing with Zeke Turner earlier, even with Za'Darius, coming in a week and a half after he got here to play. It's I just don't think you can say enough about the job those guys have done to hold this defense together. And, yeah, they got a couple of stops when they needed them. And when they needed to get a third down stop, Zeke Turner makes a big play in the open field against Jordan Love. So I just think the one thing that Dan Campbell and AG do or don't do is lower the bar when these injuries hit. There's not one time where they say, okay, we're just going to make do. They expect the same performance from whoever's in there as they do from their potential Pro Bowlers or guys that they thought were going to be playing high leverage snaps. It's amazing when you think about the fact that if you go back to that Seattle game in week 2, the healthiest their defensive line has been, because that's the week that DJ played for the first time.
Yeah.
8 guys on their 2 deep. The top 8 guys were missing in the second half of that game against Green Bay. That's stunning that you're able to still find a way to win. But you know what? They've been kind of doing it all year with the number of guys that they've lost on that defense, and I just don't think you can credit, AG and all of his assistants enough for what they've done, because it's not easy to find a way to piece that thing together when you got guys that barely know each other's names.
Dan, I'm glad you brought up Big Z. I had a chance to run into him the other day at an establishment. Super, super, super nice guy. Wants to be here, loves the city of Detroit, loves the welcoming. And, Stick made a good point yesterday. Yes, we're going to welcome him, and yes, he's going to love the welcome, because it's the number 1 team in the NFL that needs him right now. Where are you with his gameplay through 4 games? I know it's too early to talk about next year and Hutch and what they could be, but 4 games, what do you think of Big Z?
I think he's been a factor. I think if you look at the numbers that he's put up since he's been here, you can clearly tell that he's impacting the passer on the other side. And not every time does he get there for a sack, and not every time does he register a hurry or a hit or something like that. But if the quarterback knows he's there and the quarterback knows he's coming, and that changes even for an instant how he wants to throw the ball or when he wants to throw the ball, that's him having an impact. And I think we know that with this secondary, man, if you can get that quarterback to flinch just a little bit, these guys are ball hawks back there, and they're going to make plays. And I think he has been a major factor since he's been here. And I got Lomas and TJ in there, and they're calling his name out, as impacting the offense and as having a positive impact on this Lions defense. I think, look, man, that was a huge move to get him. Yep. And even bigger now with the injuries that they've suffered and seeing guys go down and knowing that you need somebody that can be in there making plays. So I love what I've seen from him. I think he's only going to get better as the talent around him gets better and some of these guys start to come back from injury. And you've got to have a guy like him where you're coming down the stretch and you're playing games against Josh Allen, games against the Vikings coming up with Sam Darnold in the end of the season. Who knows what that thing's going to be mean. And just a guy that's been around this league and gives you that experience. I think it's huge.
Dan Miller's Weekly Drive presented by Les Stanford. Dan, I want to switch gears just a little bit with you here. Lions fans and Lions players' lives have changed around this team this year. A lot of teams that the family, hey, you're not watching the game on Thanksgiving. Now those same families are asking Dad and Grandpa for jerseys for Christmas. We're seeing Sonic and Knuckles getting opportunities, for sponsorships. The whole thing's blowing up. I'm curious, what has changed for you with all the notoriety and attention and success that is following the Lions team right now?
I think like anybody else in this business, when your team is winning, you get more attention. People are more positive about what you do. Look, I've been blessed to do what I do and work with a great team, and we've always had great support from the fans. But you can feel it's different when you're winning 11 games in a row, or last year when you're going through the playoffs. Look, we're taking the same ride as these fans, and I think they feel that. And I think they feel the camaraderie that we have going through this together. We're up there calling the games for this team, but they know we're rooting for this team as well. So everything's better when you're winning. Everything. There's nothing that's worse when you're winning except for maybe availability of tickets. It's just, there's just a positivity around the city and around this team right now that lifts everything having to do with this team, from merchandise to sales, to sponsorships, to radio broadcasts, to radio broadcasters, to the people putting stuff out on their website. Everything gets lifted because there becomes more of an appetite for what we all do, for what you guys do around this team. Anything you guys put out having to do with the Lions, I'm sure does better numbers now than it did when this team wasn't winning. So it's a byproduct of this team playing well. Everything gets better and gets lifted up and magnified, and people just want more and more of it.
Hey, Dan, there's a lot of teams chirping about the Lions. Green Bay, obviously. You heard Tucker Kraft actually say this week, yeah, I missed a couple of my assignments last week because I was trying to go after a guy. You saw the chippiness in that game. The Bear game was chippy. You look at the other teams in the league, Minnesota, had a guy speak out. I'm sick and tired of hearing about this Lions team. Then you got Philly. And Philly last year kind of imploded. This year, they have something going in that locker room. It's a dynamic.
Yeah, except for their quarterback and their best receivers seem to hate each other.
That's what I mean.
100%.
That's what I was bringing up. What's going on with the Eagles, and will it nip them again like it did last year?
I mean, look, they're really good. That's a really good football team, and they got a bunch of young guys on their defense that are starting to figure it out, playing better, more impactful up front, getting after the passer. So they're going to be a problem. And I think as you look at this thing, kind of in the back of your mind, you're thinking you'd rather get them at Ford Field than have to go to Philadelphia. That's one of the reasons that you want to keep winning. But look, that's a veteran team with a lot of guys that have been there and a lot of guys now that are all those Georgia kids they drafted, 27 of them that seem to be now making plays for them. And I just see them as getting better and being a major factor in the NFC. You know, as far as the rest of the stuff, I don't know, man. It seemed like maybe we got chippy with teams back in the day when they were in a better place than we were, and we wanted to be where they were. And I think it's just it just happens when people are chasing you and get a little bit frustrated. And you know, this stuff about the referees and whatever. I mean, look, man, we've been on the other side of that. We were there when Devin Taylor got called for a bogus face mask. Yep. We were there when Trey Flowers got called for a bogus, illegal use of hands or hands to the face. Mm-hmm. And we've been on the other side of that. And there are times where you have to overcome that. And when you don't overcome it, then you're going to blame it. So I get it. Green Bay's a really good team. If the Lions play them again, it's going to be a 50-50 game. They're really, really good. And we've just been in the right place to get them twice, and we've earned it by playing better than them in those two games. But, I just don't put a whole lot of stock in this, man. I don't get it. I don't get when people talk after they lose. I don't get it when somebody says, oh, the best team may not have won today. I'll never understand that. And if Tucker Kraft got taken off a couple of assignments, and I didn't really read that quote or see that, then that's on him, and he'll be better next time. But, look, the Lions are earning everything they're getting, and I don't think anybody doubts how good this football team is and the adversity that they've dealt with to get where they are. But you know what? It's kind of fun to be on the other side of that when people start moaning about the officials giving the Lions breaks. It seems silly considering everything we've been through, but you know what? That probably means you're doing pretty well.
It's kind of like a team making a rule that you can't plant fags because it creates this thing talking about the Ohio State. Like, same thing. Ohio State didn't have a problem when they were whooping Michigan's neither did Green Bay nor the Vikings, and now here you sit, scared. People start chirping then when they're nervous, when they're scared, when they fear the other side.
Nobody talked about it. The only thing anybody talked about when we weren't very good was Ndamukong Suh was dirty. I mean, when did people ever moan about the Lions or act like the Lions were, something less than tolerable? I mean, it's people only care about you when they realize you're the one they're shooting at. You're the one they're going for. You're the one that they have to overcome. And again, I'm not taking anything away from those teams as teams. Minnesota's really good. Green Bay's really good. Yeah. And we may have to deal with them again. But as far as all this other stuff, man, it's decided on the field. That's all it is. And I'm not buying the officials thing. We've been there too many times.
Yeah, they're both well coached, just as the Detroit Lions are. We had a conversation last Wednesday. We talked about Dan Campbell, talk about him taking that next step. Well, last week, he went for it 5 times. He got it 4 out of 5 times. And he, in his mind, knew, I'm not going to kick this field goal. Talk about Dan Campbell, where his mindset was and where you were with the 4-5 last Thursday against Green Bay.
I mean, look,
on 4th down,
the one from the minus 30-yard line, that one you're kind of like, I don't know about that. That one kind of, I think we were all kind of like, that seems like a significant risk. The one at the end of the game is obviously a risk as well, but I can also see his point in not wanting to give the football back when you got a defense that's being held together by sticks and glue and you've lost guys and you're trying not to give them the football back. And the worst case scenario at that point is you probably go to overtime or else they take over the ball and we'll see what they do with it. But I just think, look, it's always going to be a source of conversation when a head coach goes for 4th down. Less so when you get it, more so when you don't. But you have to look at it in its totality. Look, we know who he is. We know what he does. We know how he plays it. He trusts his offense, and when his offense is on the field, more often than not, he's going to try not to take the ball out of their hands. And I'll go back to what I bring up all the time, which is, people always go back to that NFC Championship game, but conveniently people forget that they went for fourth down once against the Rams in the playoffs and scored a touchdown. And went for fourth down once against the Bucs in the playoffs and scored a touchdown. And had they not scored those and settled for 3, maybe they don't even win those games and get to the NFC Championship game. It's a big picture conversation, not just a small picture. I'm going to pick this one fourth down and go after it. I think the league seems to be doing more of that than we've ever seen them do before. And maybe that's Dan Campbell, leading the way in teams saying, I'm going to trust my offense too. So this is who he is, fellas. It's not changing. And it is his belief in those players. And when he says he looks out at that field and those guys look back at him and they're not coming off the field, I think it tells you about the confidence he has in them and the belief they have in his decisions that they can get it done.
Dan, we know you have a hard out. I want to ask you one last quick question. They do play the Buffalo Bills this week, who are one of the better teams in the league. I know you're going to side with the Detroit Lions. What gives the Lions the edge over the Buffalo Bills, who have Josh Allen, who's MVP, probably number 1 right now?
Yeah, look, I think this is a 50-50 game. I really do. I think it's going to be which team can play better on that day, which team can force the other team to make mistakes. This game started as a 3-point. I think it's down to 1.5 points now, and that's probably where it should be. I want to see Braylon, who comes back for the Lions. If they can get Pascal and Onwuzurike and a lean back, that's huge because you need to be stout up front against this team and figure out a way to slow down Allen. But I honestly feel like this is a game that somebody probably is going to find a way to lose. Somebody's going to make some mistakes. Somebody's going to turn the ball over. Somebody's going to give somebody a short field, and that can end up being the difference. But I go into this game thinking it's one of those between two of the absolute best in football, and it's the kind of game you circle during the regular season because you think maybe with a lot of work to do, we could see this game again down the line.
Dan, that somebody won't be the Detroit Lions because I trust Dan Campbell and not Sean McDermott. That's what I'm rolling with. Appreciate you, big guy, as always.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're the best.
Thank you, buddy.
Dan Miller, Fox 2, always a pleasure to have him on the show. He always drops knowledge, always drops gems. But
that's a frameable picture. We should send that to him.
I know. We got to send it to him. Put it in his office.
I sent it to him earlier.
I
sent him the YouTube.
The handle.
That's a nice one. That one we got to send to him.
Yeah. No, that looked good. Where were you with the conversation with Dan Miller? I mean, I think we're at this point.
He hit it.
He did. We're at this point where we're comfortable where the Lions are. Like the conversation is, it's less and less and less because you know what the Lions are going to do, and now they're getting players back, Anson, that are going to make them even more formidable. I believe the Lions, this stretch of games that they've played, the last 7, this is when the Lions were vulnerable. This is when you had a chance to strike. This is when Green Bay had a shot twice. This is when Minnesota had a shot. This is when other teams had a shot. They didn't. They allowed the Lions the Lions won these games. Now the show is about to hit the fan because now you're starting to get players back. You see who's practicing today. You see who's going to practice tomorrow. Now you add those players to the roster that's been holding together. They're only going to get better.
Great teams in all sports go through these types of situations, and they're always better for it. Yeah. Those guys that had to step up, that next man up mentality, those guys got meaningful reps, big time experience, and it creates even more confidence in every guy that you're standing next to know, hey, this guy can play behind me too. Yeah. We're going to be okay. So you focus in on the same guys week after week after week. When something hits the fan in the playoffs, you're not ready for it. This team has seen every scenario, and they're 12-1 through it. There is no more battle-tested NFL franchise through 2024 entering the playoffs than the Detroit Lions, and it's going to suit them.
Don't think. Sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead, man.
Don't think that Dan Campbell's not going to remind him about Thanksgiving 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
He takes numbers.
It's a revenge game.
He writes them down. And he marks it down. Look what he did to the Dallas Cowboys.
Receipts.
That was a revenge game. Mm-hmm. That Dallas Cowboy game.
Had a couple of those.
Certainly. Mm-hmm. It was an embarrassment revenge game.
Green Bay
you watch. The Bears, they beat them. Maybe they didn't play their best game. I believe the Lions next week in Chicago will dominate the Bears.
Now, is that about the Catfish Caleb, you told me last week I was wrong about the same guy that had 29 yards and no first downs.
It has nothing to do with Caleb. It just has everything to do with the Lions.
Sorry, I had Reg on that one. You
that's
knew it was
fine.
coming.
They take receipts and they pay back.
I love the receipts.
Yeah.
And because like so
They're
many.
like Mel Gibson in Payback.
Well, but you looked at Belichick.
I did see Payback.
and
That's a good movie. That's like one of his last ones before he got kicked out of Hollywood.
But like
then
Belichick
brought
and all
back.
the big time coaches, they are so like cool about it. Those guys keep receipts, but the fact that you see it on the field, like people are complaining about us going out and embarrassing teams. Well, we've been embarrassed my whole life as a Lions fan and team. So the fact that this guy keeps receipts and says go out and punk them, go out and make sure they remember like we remembered all year, I love that.
But you know why? It's because he's not coming as a head coach out of an analytical space. He didn't become a head coach because he's
coming
somebody's
out of kneecaps,
son.
baby, and grit.
He became the head coach as a former player
That's right.
that played for who?
The Lions.
The Detroit Lions
Love
when they were
losers.
getting waxed, taxed, and dragged. So he's held on to all that, and he's a player. Like, we're passionate. We hold on to things. So now that he's a coach, he's coaching from that space. I want my guys to win, but not only that, I remember what it was like.
I won 16.
I remember what this division was like my first year as a head coach. So he's definitely.
I had something to add to cap or no cap. I know we're probably up against a break here.
I think we're good.
Okay,
I
so
forgot we got
cap
cap.
or no cap?
By the way, Lions are wearing their black on Sunday
yes.
with the blue helmet.
Give me that.
First
Look
time
out.
out the gate.
Give me
Second
that.
one.
Oh,
They beat the
second opening
Seahawks
night.
with it.
Opening night. Yeah.
Dan Campbell should win head coach of the year over Mike Tomlin. Cap or no cap?
Hang on.
No cap. No cap.
That was not. I don't think.
Well,
that
that's
in there?
right.
Did
It's
you have
not-
that in there?
It's not the. Sorry, Bray. You're right.
Yeah, it's something like
He
that.
was
It's not
close.
that.
Because-
Yeah, you can put it up there, but
Yeah, it's close.
Listen, we were over here. I know you love the Browns. Every year,
do?
people disrespect the Steelers, and yet they're on their 19th straight playoff mission under Coach Mike Tomlin. But you look at what the Lions do, and we talked last week, you get penalized when you're 12-1. They don't look at that guy. But the fact that this whole team has been injured and out for the most part, the majority of their defense, like Dan spoke about last week, what he's doing with second and third stringers, I'm sorry, I know I'm a little biased because I'm a Lions fan, but there is no other coach for me than Dan Campbell.
yeah, we talked about that. I added the caveat like, look, all the players out. You can kind of just throw that 15-1 or 16-1, out of the window because now you're patchworking this defense, throughout the whole year, and not only are you winning. I mean, that's why. Not only are you winning, you're not letting teams score in the second half.
186 scoring differential.
Well, last couple games maybe so, but yeah, and that's AG. AG definitely should get assistant of the year. Like I don't think it's even close to who's going to get assistant of the year. AG definitely should get that for the job that he's done with this defense. But Dan Campbell, man, like he gets these guys motivated. Everybody wants to play for him. He's gotten better as an in-game decision maker. His fourth down, like look. His fourth down numbers are through the roof, but it's the identity. It's not a gamble because they have such an identity about it. Even the defense looks at it like, no, go for it. We're ready. We're ready for what we have to do. That's the defense's mindset. It's like, no, we know they're going to go for it. We want them to, but just in the event, no, we're ready to rock and roll. We know what our task is. So, Dan Campbell, it's going to be tough, though, man. Mike Tomlin, like you're talking about a quarterback that nobody wanted Justin Fields.
Nobody wanted Russ.
And that's why I was going to go to him. Russ is making, well, I guess he's making $2 million from the Steelers, but he's still making his $40 from the Broncos. Everybody was out on Russ.
Yeah.
Everybody was out on the Steelers team. Everybody was out on Mike Tomlin.
And he's won games with both of those quarterbacks. He won 4 games with Justin Fields at the helm and then turned around, put Russ in mid-season.
Justin Fields when he was 4-2.
It's crazy.
And Russ is now 6-1.
4 more games, they have to give up a 4th rounder instead of a 6th rounder, but they're better. Yeah. They're better suited to win with Russ. My concern
Kevin
is
O'Connell.
this. My concern is this.
Kevin O'Connell?
Sure. Yeah, he should be in there. But listen, to me,
come on.
Yeah, okay. I'll put those 3 in there.
Okay.
You knocked me off. Where was I going to go there? My concern with Dan Campbell is that this team's going to be so damn good. Yeah. We might only see him lose 3 games next year, 2 games, 1 game next year, maybe go undefeated, whatever. But if these guys continue to just steamroll their opponents, he'll be overlooked for Coach of the Year. And in my estimation, this should be his 2nd one.
The only reason why Maz made sense last year with Kevin Stefanski is like legitimately like he played 4 quarterbacks. Yeah. And then one of the quarterbacks that ended up winning comeback player of the year, like this guy was like raking the leaves. Right. And Joe Flacco, who's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, he was raking leaves. And then you put them in the offense, comeback player of the year, defensive player of the year. Like, they won all the awards. They would deserve it. They got in there. They deserved the awards they got last year. I wanted Dan to win. But that was incredible. There's no reason Cleveland should have been in the playoffs last year.
His real shot was 2022 when they ran, the table and went 9-8. But if they had made the playoffs, he would have won it. Since they didn't make the playoffs, they didn't give it to him. But honestly, all Dan Campbell needs to do is win out. If he wins out, what's the argument?
Even if he doesn't win out, he's getting it.
You think so?
Yeah, because they're the most feared team in the NFL. And even with all these injuries, they're the most feared team in the NFL.
Yeah.
They're the best team in the NFL, even with all these injuries. Just think how good they'd be if they were at full strength. They'd be unbeatable.
Yeah, they're the most talked about team in the last year, and they haven't even been to the Super Bowl yet. And that tells you something. You got to
They own the national spotlight.
You got to give the credit to the man Dan Campbell, because ever since they've been in the spotlight, how many times they lost on primetime television? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Few.
Once.
Once, yeah.
Once.
Is this the most hyped and interesting team of the 20s? Has there been another team so far? Obviously, we've got the back-to-back, Chiefs.
Yeah,
and
I would
going
say
for 3.
Mahomes is always going to be number one. This team's right up there.
Yeah.
This team's right up there. Thank you. Thank you, Lions.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it.
Now, if we can get the Tigers going.
You got me really thinking over here.
No, this run is going to be remembered.
Yeah, it's the Chiefs.
It's Mahomes, and then
100%.
Then it's us.
Yeah.
But this can be our decade. We can dethrone the Chiefs and start our own run, which we clearly are on that path.
Amazing.
It really is.
Now we
the
can only
Lions
get the
are 12-1, boys.
Hey, if
the
we can get the Tigers going, we'll be in good shape.
Oh, my God. Speaking of Tigers, we have Lynn Henning coming up. When's Lynn joining us there, Tom Masaway?
Right now, couple of minutes.
In that case, let's get a commercial break and let's get Lynn on in here. Let's get a message from the pregame.
Well, everybody, coming up this Sunday, you can join Woodward and Maine right here on Woodward Sports, 8 to 9 a.m. In fact, you can join Woodward and Maine every Lions game day, 8 to 9 a.m. right here with Matt Broder and the great Terry Reginald Foster. Woodward and Maine, 8 to 9, the Lions preview show every Lions game day. And then following them, specifically coming up this Sunday from 10 to noon, live from the Second Best Bar, will be the Lions pregame show with Sean Belegian and Neil Rule. Again, from the Second Best Bar, 10 to noon this coming Sunday. Brought to you by the New Holland Brewing Company, Tangerine Space Machine, 1800 Tequila, Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, and also brought to you by Sabbath Coffee. And you can fuel your Lions fandom with the perfect cup and become a subscriber of Sabbath Coffee Roasters. And you can go right now to choose your favorite roast by going to www.sabbathcoffeeroasters.com. Choose your favorite roast, use the code word Woodward, and you'll get 25% off your first subscription order. Awaken, unwind, support local, and enjoy game day right with Sabbath Coffee Roasters. We'll be right back, folks.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Get energized for the holidays during the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Now through December 20th, join for $1 down, $15 a month. And recharge this holiday season and beyond in the clean and spacious judgment-free zone, filled with equipment for every workout. Stay motivated with free fitness training and lots more. Celebrate the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Join for $1 down, $15 a month. Hurry, offer ends December 20th.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
In any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Is that an octopus in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? See what I did there? Go Red Wings! From Octopi Experts, Woodward Sports.
Everybody scan the QR code above my head and get your brand new Caesars Sportsbook account. And when you scan that QR code above my head, use the code word Woodward1000. And if you deposit at least $20 and make a bet of $20 or more, and that bet happens to lose on that first bet, you'll get that first bet back as a bonus bet up to $1,000. But only if you scan the QR code above my head and use the code word Woodward1000 with your brand new Caesars Sportsbook account. And then you can take your winnings over to shop.woodwardsports.com. Get yourself the latest, greatest Lions, Red Wings, Tigers, and Pistons Detroit sports merch. I know the merch you're wearing right now is old, so get some stuff new. We got the Black Friday sale still going on. Use the code word WSN10 at shop.woodwardsports.com.
I'm a right-handed guy, so like it has to be on the left side.
So you moved it?
I moved it.
Okay.
I moved it. It's moved now.
You've been struggling with that thing.
You've been noticing. This one is higher.
Yeah.
So like I'm literally like, so can you tell me, Dan? I had to lean up. This is much.
That's because that armhole there is broke.
It's moved now.
So it sits in.
We both switched sides today.
We did. We did. Talking
like
about the
Two-Face.
desk, that is. Look, we've been talking about the Detroit Tigers. Were they going to make more moves? It's early in the offseason, but here's a guy who knows a little something about the Tigers and the offseason. Lynn Henning, what's up, buddy?
Hey. Mr. H.
Hi, Braylon. Anson, how are you and Maz and everybody doing here? 2 weeks.
We're good. We miss you here in Detroit, but you were playing golf yesterday, so the weather must be pretty nice in Atlanta.
Man.
Well, it's down here on St. Simon's Island, Maz. It's about 5 hours out of Atlanta on the coast. And, the weather was great yesterday. It was a lot better than my golf game.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Go ahead, Bray. Lead it off.
Lynn, for purposes of a better session, because I want to be dialed into these Tigers. I want to get the best questions, the best answers. I'm going to let Maz take over. I feel like Maz will do a better. You do a better start with the Tigers, man.
Hey, we signed a 37-year-old pitcher in Alex Cobb.
Yeah, I knew that part.
And he didn't pitch very often last year, but the year prior, he was an all-star. What is Alex Cobb going to give the Tigers?
I think the first thing he gives them, Maz, is there's no such thing as a bad one-year contract, as they say.
Yep.
And really, I think that's really important because you just don't want to get boxed in, Maz, with too many long and super expensive deals. I'll tell you why. It's not because they wouldn't perhaps deliver an immediate dividend. It's because they can be so restrictive and confining a couple of years down the road. And that's why I think, for instance, a deal for Alex Bregman would be a real mistake for the Tigers.
Ooh.
For a guy that turns 31 in April. You're going to get a couple of seasons out of him that you're probably going to be pretty pleased by. But then you've got another 4 or 5, and you're almost there into the Javi Baez circumstance. Yeah. You don't want that because, again, it can really shackle you a few years from now when there's guys that would make a difference that you want, would be perhaps even contract friendly, and you don't have any wiggle room to get them. And that's simply the way it goes with all teams. There are budgets, believe it or not. And the luxury tax ensures that even for the big boys. But everybody's got a budget. And I don't think the Tigers' problem this year, for instance, is payroll at all. They've got enough payroll to do what they need to do, but you have to do it sensibly. And I think Alex Cobb, on that particular staff, I think he gives you perhaps what Lorenzen gave them a couple of years ago, or even what Flaherty did last year, and that is a serviceable guy that can get you a lot of innings. And for a one-year deal, 15, 16 million, whatever it ends up being, I think that was smart.
Yeah, Lorenzen went on to pitch a no-hitter, I believe, in his his first outing?
Yeah, first or second outing.
His first or second outing with the Nationals.
Then he fell off with the Phillies.
Oh, with the Phillies, excuse me. Lynn, quick question. Obviously, you bring in Cobb. A lot of people worried. A lot of people not patient. They saw what the Tigers did at the end of the season last year, and they want to build on that. They want to break the bank and bring all these players in. What is the patient route? Like, if you're telling fans out there like myself, patience, what do you think Chris Ilitch and that team, what do you think they're going to do this offseason to build on the momentum we had last year?
And really, Braylon, you just cited the one word, and I think a lot of us told people last spring, this is a good team, but you're probably going to have to wait a few months to really realize that. Now, I didn't see them catching fire here in the last 6 weeks to the extent they did, particularly after the trade deadline. No one really had that in the stars. But that's what you mean by patience. And patience in that regard, Braylon, is to let good players coalesce and make you a winner. And that's what they were on the verge of going to camp with last spring, was enough young talent that was just beginning to blossom and flourish. And it did, again, much later than we anticipated. But that's what you mean by waiting this thing out. I think you have to do it a bit in this context, too. The Tigers need a right-handed bat. We all know that.
Yep. Yeah.
But again, I don't think that means going out and getting Bregman at an absurd price, which is exactly what they want for him right now, in an absurdly long contract. That's not good baseball sense, not for the long term. But what you do, and they now have the capacity to do, because they have trade chips. And why? Because their farm system is much better than it was for 40 years. So that gives you the clout now to perhaps do the deal for the right-hand bat that you don't have to spend free agent contract absurdity upon getting. And I think that's where this patience thing gets confused a little bit. Sometimes it's just a matter of calling it common sense. And I think the important big picture view here, Braylon, is that this team is on an upward arc. And so you add pieces and a few more bricks to it, and you got perhaps a 90-win team next year.
I believe in patience as well, Lynn. I just don't think that a lot of Tigers fans are on board for that. We asked a question earlier in the episode. Would it be a botched offseason if the Tigers don't land a big name? Personally, I don't believe that we need a big name. I don't think that we botched last season. Obviously, the small moves got us into the playoffs, and I believe that the patience is tied to this amazing farm system, the best that I've ever seen in my lifetime as a Tigers fan.
I agree with you, and here's the deal, Anson. Remember last spring, what we were saying is you guys don't really know much at this point about Colt Keith. You've only gotten a taste of Parker Meadows. But these are the kind of guys that are going to factor into this team being a whole lot better than probably some people think right now. And the same can be said right now for Jace Young. This is a guy that I think if you put at third base next season is not only going to have a rise very similar to what Colt Keith had at second base and Meadows did in center field, but he's going to give you that big bat. Now, it's not the right-handed bat that we're all talking about. And if Spencer Torkelson would light it up again the way he should and could, that goes a long way toward helping solve that right-handed component part that they're looking for in the lineup. But I think right now, guys, they will add that right-handed bat. He's going to probably be able to play third base and first base. I don't know that he is going to be a veteran or if he's going to be, let's say, a high minor league guy who was on the doorstep of the big leagues. And they could bring him in. And that's the guy that probably out there is not identified, but is in Scott Harris's, at least, considerations list. That's the one I watch for them to make. Because then that offers you a lot of flexibility, gets you a right-handed bat. And also, again, you have the trade chips now to deal out for that person. It could be Jace Young himself. Some teams could decide that Jace Young is a natural second baseman. Let's get him back to second. And then we'll trade with the Tigers for this right-handed guy who's right now not got a shot at our left side infield. That kind of a deal is probably out there. and hasn't yet been made. But it could get very creative because it could be a multiplayer package. There are a lot of ways to go with this. Otherwise, at the very least, you might sign Paul Goldschmidt. No. And I think he's a little long in the tooth, we all do. But he also could be a guy that could come in on a friendly contract, give you what you need for a year or two, and babysit while you're waiting for a couple more players to arrive.
Love that. I want to stay on the patience thing because Tigers fans have lost all patience for Javi Baez at this point. Yeah. I am of the belief that he will be back with the Tigers this year. Can you give us some insider info on the future of Javi Baez?
What they're doing, Anson, is this. They're going to see if he is medically cleared to play. And if he isn't, then you've got a scenario here where maybe the contract's voided and their insurance kicks in. Now, that would be an optimum and an improbable path, but they're waiting to see what the medical situation is, first of all. It doesn't sound to me like he's going to be really 100% at spring training. We'll see how long it lasts thereafter. If you come out of spring training without your right-handed option at shortstop versus Trey Sweeney, you might end up, if Javi Baez is okay to play, at least keeping him on board until you find that right-handed shortstop replacement, or at least the platoon option that you can plug in there. But otherwise, if they come out of this thing, guys, this offseason with a legitimate answer to Baez, even in a platoon or a starting circumstance at short, then I think it's bye-bye Baez. I don't think there's much doubt here. They're going to eat the last 3 years of this contract, or at least the greater portion of the last 3 years. It's a matter of when. And again, their only possible bailout here is if he's not medically cleared, and you end up with kind of what they had with Prince Fielder a few years ago, the Rangers, after they got him. There was the medical problem, and then the deal was voided, and insurance gets involved and absorbs a lot of that cost. So that's the way it stands. I don't think it's likely Baez goes with him to opening day unless they have no right-handed option and figure they can keep him on board for a short-term, at least, security blanket there.
Hey, Lynn, this is KG in the sound booth. It's good to talk to you again. And I wanted to ask you about two players who were formerly number one picks on this team. That is Spencer Torkelson and Casey Mize. Now, of course, with Torkelson, he had I guess you would say a good rookie season, 30 home runs. But ever since then, he just seems to not have been that same player. He's downgraded every single year that he started at first base in terms of his hitting numbers, and even his fielding hasn't been the greatest at times. Yeah. Also with Casey Mize, somebody who we had a lot of high hopes for, kind of seemed like he was one of those freak pitchers with the kind of stuff that he has, but injuries have seemed to really take him down like a couple notches, and now I'm looking at him like he may have to be a relief arm at this point. The club seems like they want to hang on to both of those guys and that they're trying to work those guys through, whatever troubles that they're going through. Can you just tell me what your expectations are for Spencer Torkelson at first? Do you think the Tigers might add some talent at first? And with Casey Mize, is he still a starter in the MLB?
You've asked key questions, KG. I'll begin with Torkelson. This is where the roulette wheel of draft years really came up, I think, pretty tough for the Tigers. It could have been a year when you had a Bobby Witt Jr. sitting there as a consensus number one pick.
Oh, man.
And Hindsight, right? The Hall of Fame.
Damn it, Lynn.
Yeah, I know. It could have been a year when you got Paul Skeens. So what did the Tigers do? They got the COVID year.
Yep.
And really, because of COVID, not that Torkelson's skills were anything but first overall. At that point they were. But you would have had a longer period of time to evaluate than they had in 20. The same thing with Casey Mize in the sense that there just wasn't a great draft yet that year. Everybody pretty much in baseball was going to take him number one overall. There wasn't that much competition for him. Kelenic and and Joey Bart and some guys like that. Well, that tells you right now that Mize was probably still pick of the litter. But they've made it clear back to Torkelson that he's got this offseason to get things in gear. And I think he can. He's not that far off. The bat speed is still there. If he'd start going to the right field and get that little hitch that he had out of the way, those things are surmountable. Yeah. And if they are, then you're going to have that 40 home run guy that we thought we'd see the past season. Mize, probably 2 years after TJ, is going to be a lot better this year. He's got to get that slider going, and that's not beyond his achievable levels here through spring training and right on into opening day. So you might be pretty pleased with him. But, KJ, again, it gets back to the fact that they didn't get the best luck here in some years with picks of the litter because there was a big difference in some of those draft seasons with the degree of talent available to the Tigers, and it was just their bad luck to come up in some years where it was a little shy.
Mr. H, last one. I know you got to get rolling here. Catching-wise, I like Jake Rogers. Now, he's all we got left from the Verlander trade. Dylan Dingler up with the big club last year as well. What's your take on the catcher going forward? And do you think Chris Ilitch will take this team from the bottom of the salary cap to maybe the middle?
Yeah, Maz, I'm in a minority here. I don't really look at payroll as being any index.
Okay.
I think payroll is low when you have young players. And they can have a tremendous amount of young talent and have a low payroll. The Tigers are pretty much in that level right now. That got them 86 wins last season.
Sure.
Now, if you've got free agents that you can add as complementary pieces, then you go out and spend on it. But again, I don't think Alex Bregman is a smart trade. It's not like you go again to the Home Depot and go down a particular aisle and just grab somebody because those availabilities are not there. That stock isn't on the shelf. And I think you're seeing it now. There's Soto, obviously $765 million, just a little beyond the Tigers' capabilities.
Just a little bit.
Just a tad. And what else is out there now? You want to go get Teoscar Hernandez, that's fine. You're going to lose a draft pick because he's got a qualifying offer.
Right.
Then what do you do with Green and with, you've got, my gosh, Meadows. You've got
Vierling.
Well, you got Vierling, but you got Carpenter. And you've got Wenzel Perez.
Yeah.
You want to lose a draft pick and then sign Teoscar Hernandez to a huge deal? See, that's where I think you have to look, Maz, very objectively at what's available and how does it fit. And in my estimation, it's not that the Tigers are being cheap. That's the conventional thought in Detroit. I don't see that. Hey, I don't mind spending their money. I have no objections to that. But I wouldn't be making some of these deals either just because I don't think they're practical. I don't think they're sensible. I don't think they're prudent for the long term. But when you do get a guy that can help and he's there, get him. But that has to be contingent on two things. That player has to be available, and that player has to want to play for a team like the Tigers. The Tigers are now at the point where they can recruit those guys and not have them come in just to be mercenaries accepting a big payday. And that's going to change the whole free agent market status of the Tigers.
Lynn, you're right. Patience is key, but with the Detroit major sports programs, they lost patience once the Detroit Lions became the toast of the NFL. So now everybody's timeline has sped up a little bit. We appreciate you as always, man. My mom's listening too. My mom says hello.
Thanks for the questions.
Go green, my friend.
Oh, you had to
see you, Mr. H.
Go green, baby. We'll see you later.
Thank you, Lynn.
We didn't even talk about Roki Sasaki.
We didn't. We did not. But we got to take a quick commercial break so we can talk about the post game. Tell them about the post game and Anson.
Yeah, that's right. New Holland Brewing Company. They got you on lock for game day. All right. It's also brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, Sabbath Coffee Roasters, and Taller, your local long drink. Listen, they got you all set up for Lions game day. You're going to watch the game with our very own heavyweights. And you might even come down to Shelby Township and join us at Hayes Social, where we do this whole thing live. And then after that watch party, you're going to join my man Stick and myself for the longest running show on Woodward Sports, the post-game show for the Lions. Listen, we're looking for 13-1 against the Bills. So come out and join us this Sunday at Hayes Social in Shelby for the watch party and the post-game show. Shout out New Holland Brewing Company.
Oh, I'm trying to get up out of here.
Come on, man.
And it is New.
Get it together.
It is New Holland, the Dutch long drink from New Holland Brewing Company, and it is shoulders above the rest. And listen, New Holland small batch gin, 100% grapefruit and all natural flavors, makes this drink one of the best drinks on the market right now. You can get them at Total Wine, you can get them at Meijer, pretty much anywhere drinks are sold. You will see us smashing these on the watch party and the post game show. It is Taller, the Dutch long drink from New Holland Brewing Company. It is your local long
Kenny,
drink.
don't go anywhere. We're staying right here at Kenny G, and you can join us this coming Sunday, December 15th, at the Second Best Bar, live at 42 Watson Street in downtown Detroit for the best Lions pregame show around, starring Neil Rule and Sean Belegian. You can enjoy some smooth Tullamore Dew Irish whiskey while catching the best Lions, Woodward Sports Lions pregame show only at the Second Best Bar. Come get some, man.
Shut your mic.
Maz.
I know he's got that ringer over there.
Let me get my bell.
Let's see it.
Let's
hear it.
That's right. The Salvation Army Red Kettle Campaign, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. The Christmas campaign fundraising goal is $7 million. You got to help us, guys. Your contributions will help provide love beyond Christmas to individuals in need of food, shelter, and compassion. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to donate.sagreatlakes.org to donate.
Stay right here. We're good.
We really got all those ads in at the end of the show.
Paying bills, baby.
It's been a good show, man. We had
it's
Lynn
not
Henning
over already.
No, it's not. It's been. Shout out to Lynn Henning, came on the show, as well as Dan Miller, as well as AZ, formerly known as Intern Alex. Got some good info in there, man. Did we get to everything you want to talk about today, Anson?
I think we did. I got a chance to. I've been rewatching the Lions Hard Knocks.
Okay. 2022.
We got the AFC North one now out.
Are you gonna watch your Cleveland Browns?
I watched the first two seasons.
What is your obsession with the AFC North, Maz?
No, the AFC North is out now. Okay. The new version of Hard Knocks.
Right. I want to talk about the Lions, though.
Well, guess what? They're involved in this because the Cleveland Browns
made
a trade for Zadarius Smith to come to Detroit.
Right. See?
All right.
So if you just listened and just, gave me a chance.
Shut your pie hole is what Maz is saying. Shut your pie hole.
What did you learn?
My whole thing is I think episode 2, AG has a little speech, and he talks about when are they going to draw the line in the sand and stop the past and start their future. And obviously we saw that happen about halfway through that season, but I would urge you Lions fans, we talk all the time about slowing down and enjoying this season instead of trying to fast forward to the NFC Championship and hopefully the Super Bowl. Go back, do yourself a favor, and watch that Hard Knocks, because all the things that they wanted, that they were hoping for, that they envisioned, they put the groundwork in, and now they've manifested, and we're all living it here finally. It's very, very cool.
Remember the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts was at the time?
Frank Reich.
It was Frank Reich. Frank Reich told Dan Campbell, and it was on the episode, he was like, when they were walking through the trees and walking up into what they had going on, he said, I like what you guys are building in Detroit.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he said. He said, I like what you guys are building in Detroit. Frank Reich saw it first.
That's true.
And Dan Campbell said back to him,
he said, I like what you're building.
Let's do this again. But they didn't give Frank Reich an opportunity.
Yeah.
The next stop didn't either.
Right.
Is Frank our offensive coordinator after Ben leaves?
No, we got our offensive coordinator in-house already.
Yeah.
Okay.
You also see Jamal Williams crying on there, so that'd be a good one.
Yeah. Pikachu?
Yeah.
And Naruto? How many touchdowns has he scored since he left?
0. Oh, 2?
How about 10 years from now, the Campbell coaching tree?
There you go.
Now that's going to be exciting.
Very good.
That's going to be exciting because you already know 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like studs, 3 studs. You obviously know AG, Ben Johnson whenever he chooses to make that transition, and then Hank Fraley. Hank Fraley, O-line coach,
There are others, man.
There are.
They're loaded.
Antoine Randall.
Yep.
But then becomes
Maybe
the question.
Mark Brunell.
Mark Brunell, definitely.
Yeah.
I played with Mark, man.
Yeah.
Mark threw my.
That's your
it's
next offensive
My
coordinator.
last touchdown with the New York Jets came from Mark Brunell. Like,
That's awesome.
that makes me old. With that, we're going to get out of here, man. We appreciate you. Shout out to my Anson Wells. Always does a fantastic job on Wednesday. Shout out to KG.
My dog. There you chill out, man.
And my man P. Spider
Yes,
back.
sir.
Cap or no cap was another success. And Tom Masway, the elder statesman. Love you, brother.
Love you too.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in to Reminding Networks with Mass. Thank you for tuning in to Woodward Sports Network. Just keep tuning in. We will keep growing. We will keep growing. We will keep growing. See you mañana.